Growing up I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to.
Morning. Morning, buddy.
Give me the reasons to doubt, try to keep me down, but I'll put the flame out, you can't get to me. Throw your sticks and your stones, go break all of my bones. You
Happy to see me, buddy. What's happening, everyone? So welcome to YouTube video number 1, back again, back from the dead. For those of you that are still around from 5 years ago, welcome back. Things have changed. For those who are new, I kind of did YouTube like 4 or 5 years ago. I was pretty consistent on it. This was like before I was even a coach or anything like that. I just picked up a camera and started recording shit. So here we are. First YouTube video back. It is currently about 5:30 in the morning. Every morning I like to get up at about 5:30, get a work block in between 6 and 9 because that's when my brain works the best. I don't know why, as the day goes on, my brain just gets more and more fucking thick. It just doesn't work well. So I get more of my like quality work and the important stuff done between probably 6 and 9 every single morning. So just took my supplements, got up, hydrated, and then we're gonna get that work block in, get all the important things ticked off, some programming, a little bit of check-ins, content creation, whatnot, whatever needs done. Every morning, it's like a morning ritual that I will have like a tiny little breakfast initially just to start the day, which is one of these high protein drinks from Lidl. There's 30 grams of protein in that and there's only 300 ml. I don't know how they do that, but fair play them. And a wee banana as well, just to kind of, because I like bananas. But decent meal to break that kind of overnight fast as well, because it's very fast liquid digesting protein. So it's just going to break that fast. And then we'll take like a bigger meal probably around 8 or 9 a.m. when my hunger starts to kick up. But yeah, like I said, we'll get that into us. We'll go up and get a work block in. Menu today, we have to meet a friend in Starbucks at about 9 a.m. Like a little business meeting where we just meet up, talk shit, run things past each other, get some caffeine in, then we're going to home, walk this guy, and then we got to go to the gym, hit a session, and then we're answering a Q&A that I put in my story on Instagram yesterday. So there's 7 or 8 questions there. We'll get stuck into them at the end of the video as well. And other than that, that is absolutely everything. So we're gonna get this into me and get stuck into the laptop. What the fuck are you doing? And for those of you that do not know, Nico, meet YouTube, YouTube meet Nico. This is my son. He is 1.5 years old. A Staffordshire Bull Terrier. Yeah. And for those of you that do not know, this is Harley. Harley is 1 year old. Staffy as well. And this is my daughter. Also, part of the morning routine that goes down now every single day for, well, to be fair, it's only been the last 2 weeks, maybe only 2 weeks in, is a page a day of this bad boy here. I really want to get better at reading. It's just something that I pretty much suck at. I bought a few books in the past. Never really done well with them. I never got into it. But I've been recommended the Daily Stoic by quite a lot of people. It's just a page a day, a little hint of wisdom, and lots of like real applicable, quotes in here. And I've been enjoying that more than any other book I've ever read. So literally 1 page a day, 45 seconds, and then it's away again. So really enjoying that.
Yeah, baby girl, you're so damn fine, though. Wanna know if I can hit it from behind, though. I'm sipping on you like some fine wine, though. When it's over, I press rewind, though. Talking bands, I got it. Benjamins in my pocket. I traded my truth for some robins, and he's playing Batman. Freddy's gonna rob him. Yeah, I got the Glock in my robbery. 17 shots, no 38.
Right, so that was a little bit of content creation completed. Going to get stuck into a couple of clients check-ins very, very soon, and then send out a bi-weekly email. For those of you that do not know, I'm obviously the founder and owner of VICI Strength, which just launched in January 2022. It is a powerlifting / strength training online coaching brand, dedicated to just delivering world-class, individualised and caring coaching. Over the past 6 to 7 months, we've done extremely well. We've got clients now in 6 different countries. We're growing pretty decently at the moment. And the feedback has been phenomenal. But as we mentioned there, the emails, I've recently launched a VICI Strength email list, so you can sign up to that email list in the link in my bio on my Instagram. You're going to receive minimum of 2 emails every single month. Very, very helpful, in-depth emails, kind of like a blog style, dedicated to everything from strength training, nutrition, body composition, improving performance, mindset, whatever it may be, is going to be within them emails over the coming months and months and months. So if you have not signed up to that, go on to my Instagram page, check the link out in the bio, head on in the page, you can click onto my email list and get onto it there. So yes, you'll receive free solid email. Breit. Good boys. Okay, so we just finished up with morning work. It's coming up to 8 o'clock now. So me and Lana are both going to go and meet a mate in Starbucks, get some work done, chat for a while, maybe get some breakfast while I'm in there, and then get back, have breakfast number 2 because we're gaming and we're just trying to get less small, so we need to eat a lot of food, and then we'll walk our dogs. So yes, we'll head to Starbucks now and get some caffeine. Fuck. Lost 2%. I've just opened it. It's all done. Anyone else's dog just lay down like an absolute sack of spuds in the sun? He is living life right now. Well them legs, boy. Not long in from Starbucks, sat there for quite a long time, probably 2.5 hours there, just bouncing ideas back and forth from a business perspective. Just getting other people's advice, some criticism. Yeah, just good little chat that went down. Also, that fucking sandwich and coffee was like £13. So this is why, Costa. That's why I'll probably not go there very often. That was insane. So just got into the house, going to sit down, do a little bit more work here, and then hit the gym. I'll either answer all the Q&A questions before the gym or else after, so not too sure, but I'll sit down here, do a little bit of work, and yeah, we'll see what the crack is. Okay, so just finished up a couple hours work there. Now we're in the kitchen, going to get my second meal in. So for breakfast, it was actually that Costa fucking sandwich and coffee. Usually every morning I have the same breakfast. I kind of eat the same foods every single day. Dinner is probably the only food that it changes up day to day, just based on whatever we have in the house at that day. But breakfast, usually consistent, staple every single day, is, for anyone that knows me, a massive bowl of overnight oats. It's so quick, so I make it usually the night before, leave it in the fridge overnight, wake up that morning, you don't have to make anything, it's so fast. Very versatile, you can mix up like different flavours. You can have like vanilla flavoured oats, you can do like chocolate, you can do strawberry, like all different types. You can put a load of like fresh fruit or frozen fruit in it, protein powder, nuts, seeds, butters, There's so much things that you can do overnight oats, and they can literally range from 300 calories as far as, like, I have a couple of recipes that are like 1300 calories, and it's not just filled full of shit either. It's actually good quality food, and just jam packed with quite a lot of decent ingredients. So going to get that oats into me now, and then we're going to hit the gym. We're going to do upper body today. So upper body bench press focus workout. I have a couple of heavy singles on bench at, I think, like 130 kilo today, which is my 1RM in my last comp from like 2 to 3 months ago. So that'll be interesting. And then we've got a full like upper body bodybuilding hypertrophy workout. Going to do a voiceover over as well, and get some education out in that regard. Talk over my exercises, the exercise selection, the reason behind them, and just overall tips and tricks. So we're going to get overnight oats into us now, and then we'll go from there. I have 850 calories out of the fridge. Simple as that. 30 grams of protein. As I mentioned, 800 calories in the teeniest little bowl ever. 2 sachets of oats, some nuts, seeds, butters, peanut butter, chocolate whey protein, and milk. So really easy meal to go down the hatch. So yeah, in terms of like a nutrition aspect, where I'm currently at is I'm in a gaining phase and have been for quite some time. I finished the cut last year and a half ago maybe, at about 70 kilo. I cut down from 77 kg at my heaviest at the time, cut down to 70 kilo. I've done a photo shoot, got super lean. And then from then I've been in a lean gaining phase. I'm currently sitting at about 82 kilograms, give or take, in the morning, which is very good. We've gained quite a lot, and mostly muscle. Of course, I've added some body fat, but that's expected. So we're currently sitting calories on about 3,500 calories a day. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot. I've been on more myself personally, but like once I kind of hit over that 3,500, closer to that 4K range, I would notice like some digestive issues come into play, you know, from bloat and whatever that may be. And yeah, I just have to really fine tune food quality for myself, making sure that I'm getting the right, not only the amounts, but also the right quality of food and the right types of food to look after my GI. Like my digestive tract, essentially, make sure that I'm not causing any unnecessary stress in that regard. It's going to take away from my muscle building efforts to actually utilize the calories that I'm putting in the first place. There's no point in going 4,500 calories if I'm causing a lot of GI stress by doing so and not actually utilizing the nutrients that I'm putting into my body. So sitting at 3,500 at the minute, feeling very good. Digestion is very good as well. So as we just collect data from my weigh-ins, we'll start up them slowly and just make sure that we stay on top of everything in that regard. So going to bang these oats, hit the gym, which I've said probably like 6 times, but I'll get better at this. Sit. Bad yourself. So managed to get a little bit of freed up time there in the afternoon, and going to actually head out for a walk before we hit the gym, because I always find if I try to go to the gym without having at least 5,000 to 6,000 steps under the belt, I just don't feel that good about myself in the gym. Just don't feel as strong and as alive or awake or whatever way you want to put it. It's massively placebo, but getting active is one of the best things that we can do earlier in the day. So the big man is here, ready to go. This is just the front seat driver. It's actually so funny, like, because I don't even have, like, he doesn't even just strapped in or anything. I used to use a seat belt, but like he just sits right here and he wouldn't budge for like a full, I could drive for like 3 hours and he just sit there, loving life. So gonna go get some steps in, take in some of the sun, because we don't get a lot of sun in NI, and today we actually have a pretty decent day, so gonna get the most out of that, and then we'll hit the gym, which I've said now for probably the 7th time, but whatever. So just while I'm out here on my walk, I think it would be a pretty good time as well to bring up the topic of like step count. It's definitely one of the more popular kind of things in the industry at the minute, like getting your 10k steps in and whatnot. But why exactly is that important? Well, there's a couple of big reasons why I advise every single one of my clients to get 8 to 10k steps a day. And that's just solely down to the fact that it is one of the best things we can do for psychological, like mental and physical recovery. It's one of the lowest hanging fruits in terms of the most achievable one as well, because you don't need anything for it. You need, you know, to get out, when you find the time and just get your steps in. It can be for a walk, you can be going shopping, whatever it may be. Just like getting your overall step count around that 8 to 12k mark can be very beneficial for like I said, your mental and physical recovery. From a physical point of view, when it comes to like digestion, like getting steps in and being more active throughout your day, especially post big meals, can be very good to aid in digestion of each meal. So we're going to be lowering GI stress, which is going to aid in recovery and help you absorb and utilize the food that you're taking in a lot more efficiently. The other kind of side of that in terms of recovery is, like you hear all the time, your body adapts to what you put it under, okay? Your body will adapt to what it's most exposed to on a daily basis. If you're sitting for 9+ hours a day and you do not move, your body's going to adapt to them positions. And this is why a lot of people get like stiff and sore lower back, stiff hip flexors, sore and tight upper back. It's not because you need more mobility drills or anything like that. It's because you're sitting for 9 hours a day and your body's just adapting to the position that it's in most often. So getting up and getting your steps in throughout the day is very beneficial when it comes to just feeling good, having better movement and getting out of pain and discomfort. Whenever we look at the Excel data and what the science says about getting step count for recovery, we see a big improvement in like various health markers and performance markers when we take our steps from like 6k under as far as up to 10 to 12,000 steps. We see massive improvements in the likes of your resting heart rate, waking heart rate, performance markers. But once we hit over that 10k mark, maybe that 13k mark, we start to see a slight decline. So there is a balance. It's not going all out. So it's like that 8 to 12k range is usually going to be most optimal for 90% of people. So step count is very, very important. Like I said, it can aid in digestion and help with a lot of lowering GI stress. It's going to help you with your general mental health, just being out and more active and in the sun like today. And then it's going to obviously aid in physical recovery due to getting more activity and blood flow just around your body. It can also reduce pain, aches, and help your movement and execution be a lot better. So many benefits to just getting 8 to 12k steps a day. But I find one of the most important considerations and factors to remember when we're getting step count in is like the quantity of which we do so at each period of your day. I like to split my day into like 3/3 or like 4/4 and evenly distribute a certain amount of steps per quarter. It would be better off, right? Like this is an easy way of putting it. I would prefer that one of my clients got 8k steps a day, maybe 7.5 to 8k steps a day, but that 8k steps be evenly spread from morning to night, than getting 12,000 steps, but 10,000 of them being in the span of like 3 to 4 hours, you know, in just one big massive walk. It's better that we get it more so throughout the day. So this is your daily reminder. Get out, get your step count in. It's one of the lowest hanging fruits, easiest things that you can do right now to improve your recovery from a mental and physical point of view. And as a byproduct, it's going to up that performance. You're going to be able to achieve more in the gym and get better results. So get out, get in the sun, feel better, move better, recover better, and then lift heavier weights. It's as simple as that. It's one of the easiest things that you can do. Okay, so welcome to the workout portion of this vlog. Today is a bench press focused session with an upper body hypertrophy workout to follow. I was a little bit pushed for time today in my warm-up, so I couldn't do my usual 3 to 4 warm-up drills that I like to do. So instead, I opted for this cable row here. What we're doing on this is we're loading into thoracic extension in this part and then going into loaded thoracic flexion. When we improve and load thoracic extension and flexion within like any exercise or drill, it really opens up the T-spine and opens up movement variability at the shoulders. So I was a bit pushed for time and I found this ticked a lot of boxes to allow me to get a good arch on bench press and just have the shoulders ready to perform. So yes, as I said, this is an upper body bench focused workout. So this is me warming up here with the barbell, just getting the shoulders moving, getting everything feeling good. We are working up to 127.5 kg today for an AMRAP set. So previous to this workout, I actually was sick for about 10 days, as I mentioned, and did record, I think I worked out like 2 times. So this was my first kind of heavy bench press session in 10 days. The goal was supposed to be an AMRAP at 130 kilo, which is actually my 1 rep max. And I would have been happy with 2 to 3 reps. But I opted for 127 kilo just to kind of make sure I got some reps in and didn't fail on rep 1, and then take it from there. But Yes, so as we are warming up here, this is a last warm up here of 117.5 kg. And now we're into the 127.5 kg. So I actually managed 2 reps here on this exercise. The first rep absolutely flew up, and based on that I thought I had a lot more in me, and then I just got sank, elbows flared out on the second rep, and I decided to wreck it. But I've never hit 2 at this weight before, so it is still a PR, but there's definitely more there. So after bench, we moved into the hypertrophy focused workout. We started off with flat dumbbell chest press here. A couple of primary cues that you want to be focusing on in this is you want about 30 degrees of adduction at the elbow. So you don't want to be flared out to the side with the elbow, and you don't want to be extremely tucked in either. You want to be just slightly tucked in at the elbow joint. You want to have a slight arch in your back, not a massive arch. And to keep tension on the pecs, don't lock out at the very, very top. And then into the second exercise was a chest supported row. I really like setting up my chest supported rows like this. When you have your feet under your hips like this and you're standing up a bit further, it increases stability, stops you from sliding down the bench. And also when our back is more over the ground as opposed to lying on the bench, we have a better line of pull to actually work the lat muscles. So there's going to be a lot more tension within this exercise as opposed to just me lying down on the bench. So we've done 3 sets of 8 to 12 on this. And then into tries, horseshoes, single arm, cuff, push down. The primary focus that we want to be focusing on here is the line of the cable coming down has to match the line of your upper arm. So basically where my tattoo is. So you want to have a similar line in terms of the direction that the cable's running with your upper arm. From that position, it's going to be training primarily the tricep in the shortened position. So we want to make sure that we're getting right down to the very, very bottom of this exercise to actually achieve that shortened position tricep. Once we achieve that shortened position tricep, spend 1 to 2 seconds squeezing in that position just to get the most out of it. And then we'll go from there. Again, with this exercise, you want about, 10 to 15 degrees of flare at the elbow, so you don't want your elbow completely tucked into your side. Slightly out to the side is going to put the triceps in a much more dominant advantaged position. And on the guns, no upper body hypertrophy workout is completed without biceps. So standard standing hammer curls here. I usually do these single arm with the dumbbell. But today, as I said, I was a bit pushed for time, so we just went for standard dumbbell hammer curl, stand it up. Main goal here is to control the entire motion, not have any swinging. Make sure you're going down and lengthening the bicep completely by tensing the tricep as well. Now we're into lateral raises. So lateral raises and lateral delt is a big focus of mine at the minute. It's something I'm really trying to bring up. A dumbbell lateral raise is going to train the lateral delt in the shortened position primarily. So when you get to the top, that's when tension is going to be at its highest because the dumbbell goes straight down with gravity. So when I'm on this dumbbell lateral raise, I'm trying to get a pause in at the top, as you can see, because that's where all the tension is going to be, as opposed to at the very bottom. Obviously here I'm dying off, as you can tell, but I'm trying my best. So dumbbell lateral raise, shortened position emphasis. And then we move on to this here. So this is a lateral raise with an emphasis in the lengthened position. And what dictates this is essentially when you get to the bottom of a rep, the cable is still pulling horizontally as opposed to straight down. So that I'm going to have a tension on that lateral delt and on the muscle fibers at the very bottom of this the reps on this exercise. So a couple of tips here is to make sure you're spending time in that lengthened position. There's going to be more tension at the bottom. So when you get to the bottom, keep tension, spend 1 to 2 seconds down there, come right up, don't spend too long at the top, and back down. All right, so that is us finished up with that workout. A little bit hit or miss. Started off with bench and I actually had an AMRAP at 127.5 kilo, which is 2.5 kilos shy of my 1RM. Considering before tonight's workout, I actually had like 10 days off because I was sick. Lost a couple of kilos. I trained like once and I didn't really touch the barbell or anything. So considering that, I was happy enough. I got 2 reps out of 127. It's still a rep PR. I've never repped it for 2. Only ever hit that for 1 before. So we'll take it, especially considering slight detrain from that 10-day absence. So happy enough there. And then into accessories, it is absolutely roasting today. Like it's serious. It's 25 degrees over here. So it definitely took its toll on me when I got the accessories. A little bit drained, but we got them done. And yeah, we made it out. So going to head back and get some food and then
it's Q&A time, so we're going to answer all the questions. I think there's 7 or 8 really good questions in there, so we'll sit down, we'll talk about that, get that done, and then we should.
Alright, so welcome to the Q&A part of this video. It is actually the day after I said I was going to record that Q&A. Went home, ate some food, sat down, and then went from like a seated position to a lying position. I closed my eyes a wee bit, and then it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and it just didn't happen. So the day after, feeling fresh, feeling good, just out of the gym, and we're going to cover these questions then. So we got 6 questions here from Instagram that I posted up 2 days ago, specifically for this YouTube video. And yeah, so if you don't already follow me on Instagram, which I assume most of you are coming from Instagram to YouTube, then do follow me. It'll be in the link in my bio. That's where I'm going to be like most active on Instagram. So 6 questions, let's see. Right, the first question from my man Connor was lifetime goal as a lifter, and that's a fucking tough question. Like, a lot of people would think that is a really easy, simple, kind of straightforward, generic question to answer, but it's actually not, because I don't know where my mindset, where my head is going to be in 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, as to what kind of extent I want to take my own personal lifting. Personally, over the next like couple of years, like within the next 5 years, within the next 3 to 5 years, I want to squat 250 kilo, I want to bench press 155 kilo, and I want to deadlift 275 kilo to 280 kilo, and that's going to be within the next 3 to 5 years. Very achievable, but that's within the next 3 to 5 years. In terms of after that, I don't know. I honestly couldn't say. I don't know where I'll go after that in terms of like how far I will take my body essentially through fucking trenches to go more and more. All I know is I will be taking it as far as I physically can. But all in good time. I just can't think more than 5 years ahead. But they're the 3 numbers that I want to hit in raw tested powerlifting over the next 3 to 5 years. Will be the 250 plus squat, 155 plus bench, and the 275 to 280 plus on deadlift. I'd be very, very happy there. So that's the lifetime goal as a lifter. And obviously over the next 3 to 5 years too, like I have a huge passion for bodybuilding style training as well, like hypertrophy based training, and especially like nowadays, in terms of where the industry is going, powerlifting is like, you hear it all the time, it's like a good powerlifting program is literally bodybuilding with more SBD and just, you know, fatigue management strategies on accessories, just so like we can kind of balance the fatigue from both accessories being lifts and continue to progress. So I have a huge, you know, passion for that hypertrophy bodybuilding style training, which I will be filtering in forever, to be fair, because they both do complement each other so well. Like I done a cut in lockdown when COVID was like really tough. I just packed powerlifting in for like 2 years or so and went all out on bodybuilding training because there's no gyms really open and stuff for the powerlifting. The community aspect and the environment is so important for powerlifting, and trying to do it on my own. Like there's a fucking story that all my mates know that I got like all the powerlifting equipment in the world. I had like a Lego bar, bench, rack, everything. I put it in my kitchen. This is before I lived in my current house, so I've moved out now with Lana, who's my girlfriend. But before that I lived at home, and my mum and dad's house was like it's a really small house. The kitchen's pretty tiny, and there was one like evening I was sitting doing volume deadlifts. I was hitting like sets of 7 on deadlifts, sweating my tits off, and like you look 2 meters to the left, my mum's just making fucking super noodles, chips and like fried eggs or something, just looking over at me thinking like, what are you doing? So it just didn't work. The environment aspect of powerlifting is very very important. So I done the cut anyway 2 to 3 years ago, but that whole 2 year gap, like I put on quite a substantial amount of muscle as well. Obviously after the cut as well, continuing bodybuilding, and when I got back to powerlifting, I was actually stronger in the potential that I had to improve my strength once I got like, you know, familiar with the skill again was very very high. So I definitely feel those 2 benefits there. So yes, I hope that answered the question. Lifetime goal as powerlifter, that's my 3 to 5 year plan. Okay, so second question, my man Ben. Okay, so best ways, I just gotta keep track of where the fuck I am here. Best ways to train while injured / in pain. Like any programming considerations essentially for like an injured powerlifter or someone who's in pain. So first things first, the most important part right here, right now, if you're in pain, if you've injured yourself, if you're in chronic pain, and you've maybe hurt yourself just in the gym, you need to get assessed. You need to go to like a physio, chiro, someone who is number one qualified but competent in diagnosing you, most importantly. So you actually know what the crack is and what is actually wrong with you, so that you can build a plan based off that diagnosis and you know what to do. With any of my clients, whenever we go through pain, get injured, anything like that, first step is always to get assessed. I am very close with a very, very highly recommended physio here in Northern Ireland. So if you're an NI, Pendulum Physiotherapy, Declan is his name. He works in Lurgan and recently just opened up physio in Portadown, which is also going to be right beside Focus Gym where I train out of, so it's going to be very good to have him around. So get assessed, get your diagnosis. Then after that, the best kind of programming considerations to train around an injury. The first thing is going to be very simple, find things that do and do not hurt. Okay, so like whenever it comes to movement patterns, what hurts and what doesn't. A lot of people, like I find with a lot of people, like when we're looking at hip and lower back, they struggle with like a back squat and a conventional deadlift from the floor with a straight bar. A lot of the times things like front squats, hex bar deadlifts, block deadlifts, and even machine-based exercises are completely pain-free and allows them to progress and continue to add load without pain. So step number one will be identifying what movements do and do not hurt it, so you can build a program and create a weekly microcycle around the exercises that don't hurt, or make things worse. So find what you can physically progress. Step number two, I would say, is going to be load limiting variations is very, very, very useful. This is specific to like powerlifters, maybe and powerlifters that are in prep or something like that. And load limiting variations are simply variations of your competition squat, bench press and deadlift that force you to limit the load, but the RP is still going to be kept high, okay? And it allows you to kind of continue to keep your intensity of training high. Things like things like tempos, concentric tempos, 4-second concentrics, 4-second eccentrics, pauses, beltless work, sleeveless work, cluster sets. These are all different ways that we can keep the relative intensity high, but the overall intensity is actually low. So relative intensity meaning that, relatively to yourself, the intensity is still high, the RP is still high, but overall the load on the bar is actually lower. So it's going to allow you to train hard without having to put a load of kilos on the bar essentially. And we're still going to be getting adaptation throughout this style of training, because a lot of pain and injuries for people is often down to load as well. Like they'll find that a certain percentage is when they'll start to feel these pains and aches and like maybe flare up an old injury. So load limiting variations are very, very useful. Make sure your program is utilizing them. And then the next part is going to be more a programming thing. It's going to be more like, so that was number one. Number two is the third point. It's going to be stress. So training stress volume, specifically volume and intensity. It's going to be actually finding volume and intensity that you can tolerate first and foremost. Stress is what we're putting within our body, then we need to recover from that stress to get stronger every single session. The equation for injury is oftentimes known as applied force is going to be greater than tissue tolerance. Okay, so what that means is the amount of force that you are actually utilizing, so the amount of volume, training stress that you're performing, or whatever that may be, or loading a certain exercise, outweighs the tolerance of a specific muscle tissue. So manage your stress, your weekly total stress in your program, find what you can tolerate and actually recover from, and then go from there, as opposed to having your training volume and intensity too high. So they would be my three biggest considerations for training like around injuries and pain. So find what does and doesn't hurt, utilize a lot of load limiting variations, and make sure you're training stress, you're managing it and you're tracking it so you know what you can and cannot recover from, and then just go from there. There's it's a really hard question to answer. It's very, very individual, and there could be a million other things that I could say here, and there could be one or two things that I take back based on a specificity with pain. So there's definitely more context needed, but there are three things that we have full control over as coaches in this industry. So very good question. Right. Got another question here.
It's a good question, and keep it easy. What are your current thoughts on the fitness industry in Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland? In terms of I know where that was going. So the thoughts on the industry in NI/IRE, and I'll just be straight up honest here. It is behind the times for sure. The industry in Ireland itself, or the Republic, is so much further ahead in my opinion than NI. It's a lot more positive. They're doing a lot better things. NI is a little bit behind the times. It's a little bit stuck in the olden ways. It's like, for those, like the person that answered this question, you'll know yourself, like it can be a pretty negative place at times. It's not going to be the most supportive place. People often don't like to actually see you do well in the industry. You're going to have like some critique and people thinking that you're doing wrong, I suppose I could say. But the Republic of Ireland is not as bad as that. I definitely don't feel. I think it's a lot more supportive. There's definitely a lot more going on down south. But overall, even down south and NI is still behind compared to England and compared to the States, without a doubt. Like Canada and Australia and stuff, they're all leaps and bounds ahead. But the good thing is, like NI and Ireland, we are progressing throughout the map, and it's it is the coaches, like myself. I'm not even going to just be up my own fucking ass here, but it's like and I know lots in NI and Ireland that are making moves and that are doing it right and are pushing this industry standard forward essentially. So it's just a matter of time. We're a couple of years behind everywhere else. The industry can be a little bit like narrow-minded, like a real scarce mindset, especially in Northern Ireland. I know a couple of coaches, and I connect with a couple of coaches who currently live in Manchester and London, who were in Northern Ireland and Ireland, who moved over there for the sole reason of more connection, more business opportunities. And they said themselves that the mindset over in NI in Ireland, in the S&C and even the bodybuilding industry, is very narrow-minded, not supportive, stuck in their ways, and there's no growth. So I do understand that and see it, but for me personally, I can deal with it, I can get with it. I just keep to myself and know that, like, as far as we are behind other countries, we are still progressing and we are going forward, and you just have to keep moving forwards in all ways, shapes and forms. But I still do know loads of great coaches in both NI and Ireland that are really helping push us forward as well. So yeah, easy question to answer, actually. Not even tough, it's just easy. And anyone that in NI/Ireland that is a coach will know themselves what the crack is as well. Like, you'll know yourself. So that is the third question. I have three more. I'm literally just going to stare at the other side of my phone here to make sure it is still recording. Yes, we're good. Happy days. Right, okay. Third question, and that's us half there. Right, we got another. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's fucking deadly, but like that is hard. In all honesty, doing what I'm doing right now in a massive, bigger scale. So from a business perspective, I want to grow my business so that VICI Strength is the best powerlifting / strength training / hypertrophy based training like coaching brand in the UK, with multiple coaches working for the brand as well. The goal in the next 5 years, about that, is like once I start taking on coaches within the brand, I would like to start linking out to that kind of hypertrophy based range as well. So taking on like a hypertrophy based coach, like a powerlifting based coach as well, and overall just kind of grow a solid community and team of like-minded, positive, open-minded, progressive individuals that are really trying to make an impact in the industry in the UK, Ireland and NI. So from a business perspective, doing what we're doing now, really want to get into educating, so like mentoring, education, seminars on all things like S&C, powerlifting and hypertrophy based training as well, and overall just grow my own team personally in the powerlifting world. So that's kind of like a vague answer to the business side of things. In terms of like where do I see myself in 5 years from my own training, I kind of answered that again. And overall from a personal life, within 3 to 5 years, again, it's fucking deadly, but like, I would like to have a big house, bungalow shape in the countryside, with Nico and Harley running around off lead, flat out, big back garden, lovely conservative to sit and do my work in. Freedom aspect as well. I'll be working 2 days per week maximum, 1-to-1 in the gym as a personal trainer, so that I have a lot of free time as well. And then all that free time is going into everything that I just said. So yeah, it's a tough question to answer, but you get the gist. In terms of business, just grow it as much as I can. Start really making an impact in the industry, in the powerlifting industry and NI in the UK for VICI strength. Bring on some coaches, look into the hypertrophy based things, side of things, and then get into educating and mentoring down the line for coaches and lifters alike. So yeah, hope that answered that question decently. Hey, Julie asked, this is a great one, this is my favourite question. Thinking about a staffy pup, can you shed some light on the pros and cons? Holy fuck. Oh. Right guys, tune in for this question's going to take about 30 minutes long at least. So for anyone that does not know, you watched the start of the video, you do know. I'm a father to 2. I have a son and a daughter. Nico and Harley. 2 Staffordshire Bull Terriers. For any American people that are watching this, they're not Am staffs, it's English staffy. And they're not pit bulls either. So it's like an English Staffordshire Bull Terrier. We have 2 of them. Nico is about just coming 2 years old. Harley is just over 1 year old. Harley is the little red one, Nico is the little blue one. And yeah, I honestly, best decision I ever made in my life was to get a dog. Like before me and Lana got Nico and Harley, I was saying for so long, years to Lana, like a long time before we even moved out, I always said like I'd love to get a dog. I'd really want a Staffy or an American Bully. They were my 2 kind of choices because they're just 2 cool fucking dogs. And number 1, I grew up with Staffies my entire life. My sisters had them since I was pretty much born, so I grew to love that dog breed so much. They're a cool, like muscly, athletic dog breed, but they come in such a small package, and they're so easy to handle. They're easy to shower, they're easy to bath. They're such short skin, so they don't really shed that much. Nico just like they're so easy to transport. So, shed some light on the pros and cons of the Staffies. So, the pros to a Staffy. Okay, so for anyone that owns a Staffy, you will know that they are very, very, very people oriented. Probably more than any other dog breed. They are so people oriented, more than dog oriented, or animal oriented. They just love people. They love affection. They can't be without like contact, I suppose you could say, for a long time. They need to be around people, and they thrive off kind of like attention. So they love. It's that type of dog breed where you just, like I tell people all the time, like they're the closest dog breed to a human. You look at them and you can conversate with them. You know what they're thinking. They know what you're thinking. They're so intelligent. They're so smart. It's like having like a wee mini me human fucking dog thing sitting beside me all the time. When Nico's beside me or Harley's beside me, they just know the crack. So they're very people oriented, and I love that about them. They're really, really positive, enthusiastic dogs all the time, full of energy. Really, really loving dogs as well. Like I grew up with, other dogs. Well, my mum and dad's had Shih Tzus and Terriers throughout their life, and I have friends who have other dog breeds. So the Staffy is just that one that is just will get attached to you so fast, and you will get attached to them back. So in terms of the pros, they're just so oriented around you. They're very easy to manage and handle. And yeah, they would be kind of they're the big bulky pros to own the Staffy. In terms of cons, now there is a couple of cons to be aware of, and they're not even cons, they're just things you have to be aware of about the breed itself. Okay, number 1, the pro that they're crazy. I said that they're like so like crazy and positive and hyper. It's also a con. All right, like they're crazy fucking bastards. Essentially, they're really, really crazy dogs. So whenever we got Nico as a pup, me and Lana had fucking mental breakdowns every 2 to 3 days. Like it was insane. I remember like the first couple of weeks, him squealing the house down every single night, and then like just eating absolutely everything. They are chewers. They eat everything. They eat the boat. They eat the doors. They eat the walls. They ate the fucking everything. And I think Nico could eat. Harley's not that bad, right? We got lucky with Harley. She's such a great dog. I think Nico actually taught Harley, because when we got Nico, we really went all in on his training. I done a training course online, We've done really well with Nico essentially, and like whenever he was 1 year old, we had like really good recall, really good obedience, manners, everything really came into place. We didn't do much at all with Harley, but I think Harley learned off Nico. So the cons, if we go back to that, is just they're crazy dogs, very hyper. They cannot be left alone for long periods of time. They're chewers, very strong, very active dogs. Like around, if you don't train them right, they can be very destructive. Like around, especially around like elderly people and younger kids and stuff. But more they just don't know their own power. That would be just the biggest con in my opinion. Is just how crazy they are, how much attention they need. And you don't just get a staffy, just like let it sit in the corner and hopefully it's a wee house dog. It's like it's a dog full of bursting energy every single second. They need attention and lots of it. I know all dogs do, but they specifically. So that'd be the biggest pros and cons personally that I've went through the last 2 years with Nico and Harley. But now we are smooth sailing, no more mental breakdowns. So that's a great question. Right, one more question. How do you personally periodize a long-term powerlifting cycle for a client? Okay. Fucking great question. Right. So, in terms of the modality of the periodization, in terms of what goes into a periodized scheme, what we set a client's training program up like, how we progress it and run it throughout cycle to cycle, is different per client. There's a million different ways to skin a fish. As a coach and as a good coach, you should not be tapered to and biased towards one method. There's plenty of clients that I know. I have a couple of clients on like very different, I suppose, approaches, and I know that the approach that one's on will not work for the other, so you have to be very open-minded. In terms of how I periodize a long-term powerlifting cycle, essentially what I do with all clients here at VICI Strength when they come on board is one of the first things within an intake call is establish our goals. And by goals, yes, we can have a big emphasis on hypertrophy, body composition, general health, bring up health markers, train for, get around pain and stuff. But in terms of specific goals, it's like for a powerlifter, we get meet day. When is your next meet day? When is your next test day? When is your next mock meet or whatever that may be? And then from there, I essentially take that information, and I have our own personally built over the years and refined athlete management system that I utilize for every single client, which allows me to periodize and plan long-term training for as far as 12 months in advance for absolutely any client. We look from each month. It's called a phase roadmap, essentially what nutrition is doing in each phase, what our training stress is like in each phase, what our goals are like for each phase, what our frequency of SPD is like for each phase, everything and anything. So we get that end goal first from a goal setting intake call, and then I take that date, know when they're competing, and work backwards. Okay, so I work backwards and know how much time they need for specific developmental purposes and adaptations. So we know that if they're competing in 6 months' time, we know that at a certain time frame they need to be peaking, or they need to be more specific within their training. It can't be really variation. Will have to be prioritized intensity over volume. So I work back from that, and then work back as far as obviously the day that they're starting, and then that is kind of as they take off. So we're building towards that one goal. So personally periodize, there's lots of different methods of periodization that I use specifically, but one of the most kind of used ones I use personally is block periodization, which essentially in very simple terms is each block has a specific outcome / goal, and just to keep it simple, intro block, the specific goal in intro block is getting someone resensitized or familiar within a certain training stress and approach. Volume block, really easy. Its primary goal is to accumulate volume. Strength block, primary goal is to drive intensity through the roof, neurological adaptations. And then peak block, the goal of that is obviously to peak and get ready for competition. So there's other phases like GPP, general physical preparation, exploration blocks. There's loads of different blocks that we can go utilize. So I like to block periodize, especially for a lot of beginners. I find that is a very, very beneficial way to do it. Daily undulating periodization is also another very good scheme as well of how we actually progress our training over time. So yeah, I hope that answered the question. In terms of how I periodize long term for a powerlifting client, is we establish goals first, we get our test day mock meet, we work backwards from that, whatever scheme we're using, whether it's block periodization, DUP, whatever that may be, linear periodization, it could be absolutely anything. There's 10 plus different methods of periodization that you could use, but essentially the most common thing that they have all in common is I get that goal setting call with the client when they come on board, we pick our date, and I work backwards from that date and understand exactly what they need in each block and make sure that it's suited to them to get the most progress. So that's how I would personally do that. So that is us. Questions all completed. 6 very, very, very good questions. Pretty diverse as well. Some about me, some about the dogs, some about training. Very, very good. Yeah. So that is going to conclude this video. First YouTube video back. I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you made it this far, pat yourself in the back. Very fucking proud of you. I promise to get better at this over time. A bit rusty to start off with. If any of you are here from like 5 years ago, whenever I was like proper vlogger back in the day, used to like idolize fucking Christian Hughes' mom messaging and stuff, and just used to think that was the way forward. But yes, I will get better at this over time, so please bear with me. If you would like to see anything specific, please drop them in the comments. Let me know what you'd like to see. I can, you know, over time I plan on getting specific Q&As, getting guests in, full days of eating on bulk for a powerlifter, purely educational videos, workout videos, everything, anything. Let me know what you guys want to see and I will be sure to put it on the list. Other than that, I want to thank you for watching it. Like I said, pat yourself in the back, like the video, please hit subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. I plan to do 2 to 3 videos per month. So yes, subscribe, stay up to date, follow me on Instagram down in like what do you call that? The description. And I'll see you in the next video.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to